I've got a question for you, and that is, should you fund your business using personal or family money? There's a lot of opinions out there, and it is a hot topic for sure. And today's episode is inspired by a viewer's comment, so buckle up and join us. It's going to be quite a ride. Hey there, I'm Nafisa Shireen, success coach and business strategist for entrepreneurs, and welcome to Living Forward TV, where I help you to create a thriving business you absolutely love so that you can design and live the life you know you're really meant to. And if that sounds like something you'd like to do, then I want to invite you to join my community. Subscribe to my channel and make sure to click the bell notification. That way you can be the first to know when I publish a new episode and release new content. A few weeks ago on Living Forward TV, we did an episode, which I think is one of the most important ones I ever did, all about talking to your husband or spouse about investing in your business without asking permission and without feeling guilty. And oh my goodness, did we ever get flooded with emails, messages, and comments. And one in particular really caught my eye and attention because in the comment, there's the implied question of what we opened this episode with. Should you use family or personal money to fund your business? And I wanted to go through this comment today and dive into it with you because there is a lot of richness in it. And if you're churning right now over this very decision, I know that this episode will help you to move forward and make the right one for you. So let's have a read. The question comes from a viewer, and she says, "Hi Nafisa, a friend of mine asked me to check out your video. She has a home-based business for a number of years, and it's been a drain on family resources. Here are my 2 cents. Number 1, successful entrepreneurs never borrow from family funds. Number 2, if you can't get a business line of credit from a bank, then you shouldn't be able to get one from the family funds. Number 3, family money always has strings attached. Number 4, if you use family funds, then your business becomes liable to litigious action. You need complete separation of business and family funds. And number 5, by separating the business from family funds, you are truly an entrepreneur and you do not have to explain your business investments to your spouse. Does your spouse explain what they do every day at work to earn an income?" Entrepreneurship is supposed to create financial freedom and independence. Ask yourself whether or not you would pursue a particular business venture if family money was not available. And if the answer is not, then you probably shouldn't go forward. So that comment came to us from Money Mom Online. And I really want to start by thanking Money Mom because this comment has so much richness, as I mentioned in the opening, and it really does get to the heart of that question on whether or not an entrepreneur should be using their family, or if they don't have a family, their personal money, or perhaps personal credit, borrowed money, to fund their business. And the answer to that question is it depends. There's no one right answer for any business or any family. And Money Mom brought up a really good point here about a friend of hers who's had a business for a few years that's been a drain on family resources. And I'm so sorry to hear that for your friend. And I'm also really glad that you brought that up because that's actually a really, really common problem that we see. One member of the family has a business and it continues to drain the family resources or to put the household more and more and more into debt. Now, I don't have enough information or facts about your friend's business to diagnose anything. But on the 30,000-foot level, what I can tell you for sure is that when a business continues to lose money, there's a much bigger problem than the money. There's a problem at the very core of the business that's not being addressed. And that problem is either causing money to leak out or preventing money from coming in. Money, or a lack of it, is never the problem, but rather it's a symptom of the true underlying problems. A business should never be a drain on the family resources. A business shouldn't be a drain on any resources. A business needs to pay for itself. Actually, it needs to more than pay for itself. The business has to create a return on investment. Otherwise, there's no business. It's just an expensive hobby. There's really only ever 3 times in business where an entrepreneur is going to need to get money outside of what the business is already generating. So number 1, that's going to be when the business is brand new and starting out. Number 2 is when it's in a growth phase and the entrepreneur wants to invest in that growth. And number 3, Not so great when there's a cash crunch and expenses are exceeding income. And in all three of these situations, that's when the question will come up, right? Should I fund my business with my own money or my family's money? But here's the thing, that question is premature because the answer isn't about the money. The answer is about the action. What successful entrepreneurs do first, before they ever spend a penny, is they make sure that the course of action is the right course of action for their business and to move it forward. And if it is, then they also want to make sure that the money they invest will actually create a return. If the answer to any of those questions is no, they stop. They don't take action, and the money's a non-issue. But if the answer is yes, then they know they need to move forward. And so, Money Mom, one of the things you said is that if only family money is available to fund the venture, that you should probably not go forward. Well, I would respectfully disagree with you on that one because, first of all, let's talk about the whole concept of family money. The entrepreneur is part of that family, and so the money belongs to them too. And the family is going to want some or all of the eventual profits of the business. And energetically, it's got to work both ways. If the family wants a piece of the action, the family needs to have some skin in the game. Second, if it's determined that this decision is the right course of action to move a business forward, it's irresponsible to the business and to the family not to move it forward just because you don't want to touch a certain source of money. That's the belief and the mindset that keeps so many entrepreneurs small. They're afraid to touch their own money. They're afraid to invest in what they need. They're afraid to have the conversation with their spouse. That's why I did the episode. And then they don't do what they know they need to do. Now, if you're going to invest in your business, you have to be willing to back that up with action. You don't just take the money, invest, and hope for the best. That doesn't work. You have to be willing to take brave action, to make phone calls, to get out from behind your computer, and you need to be committed to creating that return. And not taking the course of action just because the source of funding isn't generated from the business itself at the moment, that's what keeps you small. It's going to keep you stuck, it's going to keep you struggling, and it's going to keep you broke. I truly believe that many times a business creates a financial drain, not because the entrepreneur is investing too much money, but rather because they aren't investing enough money and they're not investing in the right things to actually make something happen. And so, of course, what they do invest just goes right down the drain. And Money Mom, you also said something that's super important, and thank you. And I hope all of our viewers really pay attention to it. And that's the importance of keeping family and business money separate. Absolutely. I mean, as an entrepreneur, whether you're incorporated or you're sole proprietor, your business, it needs to have its own bank accounts. It needs to have its own credit cards. And if you're borrowing money, whether it's from a bank or from yourself or the family, then you need to have a proper loan agreement drawn up and show a very clear delineation that shows the loan going into the business. Never, ever use personal or family accounts or credit cards to pay for business expenses. I've seen far too many entrepreneurs do this, and it gets really, really messy. They don't have that clear delineation. It gets messy at tax time. It gets messy as to who owes what. And as Money Mom said, then you can suddenly subject yourself to litigious actions. So this is an area that all entrepreneurs really want to be careful and keep personal and business money separate. But I do want to clarify one point there about the litigious action. And I'm not sure what the intention was. It just reminded me of a common misbelief that when a business is incorporated, the owner has no liability. Now, I'm not a lawyer, so this is not legal advice, but having worked for many years with lawyers and having been a former accountant myself, I do know a few things. And yes, when you have an incorporated business, you can sometimes protect yourself from the monies that the business owes to other people or other businesses if you don't personally guarantee the bills or you don't use your personal credit cards. However, as a business owner, you're never fully free from the potential of someone taking litigious action or suing you if your actions are what caused them to have harm. So you've got to be really careful about the false sense of security, thinking that you can never be sued or have action taken against you as a business owner. That topic is outside the scope of this conversation, and I think it's something we're going to talk about on another day when I can actually bring in an expert, because you do really want to make sure in anything you do that you're protected. But for the purpose of today's episode, I just really want to clarify that separating monies is really important for a lot of reasons, but to be protected from litigious action goes well beyond bank accounts, and it's something that needs to be discussed with your lawyer, your accountant, and an insurance broker. And another important topic that Money Mom brought up is that family money can have strings attached. Absolutely. And that's why we talked about in the original episode on talking to your spouse. It's crucial to have the conversations from an empowered place as a CEO so that there aren't strings attached. And that if you're borrowing money from the family or from yourself, that you have a business plan and you have plans to show how it's going to be paid back. And that as the business owner, whether it's yourself or the family bank account, that you've got this plan laid out in front of me, and then you show how you're going to create that return. And that's the key thing about the expression return on investment. It needs an investment. And finally, one of the things that I would really like to address that was said, and I think this is important from both the perspective of being a business owner and honoring your marriage and partnership, is the comment was made that a successful entrepreneur shouldn't have to talk to their spouse about their business investments because their spouse isn't going to tell them, the entrepreneur, what they do in their job to earn an income every day. And yes, as a business owner, once your business is flowing and it's generating money and it's paying for itself, you may or may not speak to your spouse about all the daily little things that go in and out or other business activities. Although, you know what? I personally do. And especially when you're in growth mode and the business needs more cash than it's generating in order to create more cash in the future, or maybe the business is generating cash, but it has to stay in that business and not come to the family just yet. I'm sorry, those conversations need to happen with your spouse. Maybe your spouse doesn't talk to you about all the things that they do to generate income and their paycheck. I get that. But you know what? He or she does need to keep the company stakeholders informed. And your business has stakeholders as well. And one of the stakeholders, your biggest stakeholder, is your spouse. They are the most important stakeholder. And so out of respect to your marriage and out of respect to your vows, I believe it's important to have those conversations no matter how much money your business is generating, whether your money is pooled or not, because your spouse is always affected by the decisions you make about your business. And as Money Mom said, at the end of the day, entrepreneurship is all about freedom. And the thing about freedom is it does take work and it does take effort to get there. So the question isn't really, should I invest my personal or family money in my business? The question you want to ask yourself is, what is the next right step? What's the next course of action that will move my business forward? That's truly what successful entrepreneurs who are profitable ask themselves every single day. And then when they figure it out, they take calculated and mitigated risks to make that happen. And more than anything, and most importantly, they take action. I really want to thank you, Money Mom, for your amazing question and comments, because this, I think, really helped a lot of our viewers today. And for anyone watching, if you have a question you'd like me to answer about building a business that gives you freedom, leave it below and I'll make sure to answer it on an upcoming episode. And if you found today's episode helpful, tell me below what helped you and share this with someone who you know needs it. And remember to subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you here. And if you really want to grow your business and meet an awesome tribe of entrepreneurs and get daily inspiration from me, then I'd like to invite you to join the Living Forward free Facebook community and continue the conversation. Simply hop on over to livingforwardcommunity.com, click the Join Now button, and I'll see you on the inside.